We all know of Reddit and the endless amounts of mysteries on the website, both solved and unsolved. There exist so many subs on the website pertaining to different forms of lost media, scary stories, creepy DMs, weird happenings, and other similar things. Today I wanted to take another trip with you guys through r/tipofmytounge and go over 4 additional posts that, in my humble opinion, are actually super interesting and have a lot of interactions on them between OP and the community. Now I won't waste any more time explaining anything further. You're here because you love hearing about internet mysteries, and hey, you may actually be able to help the people who posted about these find what they have been looking for. As always, thank you for watching and please enjoy the video. Anyone remember when they were younger and would try to sneak around to watch or look at things we probably shouldn't have been looking at? Now, I know when bringing that topic up, there's one major thing that pops up into people's heads, but I more so am referring to the more horrific variety of excitement. I'm sure most of us can relate being denied the ability to watch a certain movie or TV show by our family members when we were a younger child, most of the times for a good reason. I personally remember watching the movies 13 Ghosts and Ghost Ship when I was way too young to be watching these movies. Images of the giant ghost baby guy from 13 Ghosts has been cemented into my head along with that weird blade gyroscope trap thing. Oh, and I was paranoid about eating rice for weeks after seeing that scene in Ghost Ship. Luckily, I was able to remember what movies those were though, but unfortunately that cannot be said for the OP of our first post, Reddit user Persephone Elise. Their post reads as follows. Graphic black and white horror movie I snuck into my grandpa's garage to watch years ago. I saw this around 2010, but I'm pretty sure it was much older. I vividly remember one scene where a man had his head smashed by what looked like a hydraulic press. I believe it was a monster movie. I snuck into my grandpa's garage to watch it when I was around 6, and I can still visualize that particular scene, but I remember nothing else about the movie. I've brought it up to multiple family members and they blame childhood trauma and think I made it up. I'm thoroughly convinced that this was a real movie and I'd be interested to watch it again. I've tried Google, but to no avail. Thanks in advance. Also, I'm in the USA if that helps, though the movie could be foreign. If it is in English, it could be Spanish, since we are Puerto Rican and it was my grandfather's first language. Edit. Forgot to add. I also remember a woman who was partially, if not fully, nude. 6-year-old me said, "Oh, boobies," and that's how I got caught and sent back inside because it wasn't an appropriate movie for a child. Mostly because of the gore, as well as the nudity. This was posted about 10 months ago and has received a great deal of comments offering suggestions as to what the movie OP is remembering might be. One thing of note is that people were quick to point out that the television might have just been a black and white television, and that would have skewed OP's memory of the movie, but OP did confirm that they had watched color films on the television as well. Watching someone get their head crushed in some sort of hydraulic press is definitely something that would cause just a bit of nightmares for a small child, and then you couple that with nudity, yeah, you have one amazing recipe for fleeting memories 20 years later. People suggested quite a bit of movies, mostly from during the 1950s time period, which would put it in line for being filmed and produced in black and white. You have one user suggesting The Fly from 1958, another suggesting Dead Man that starred Johnny Depp, and one user suggesting the movie Toxic Avenger. Toxic Avenger isn't in black and white, but does feature the aforementioned head crushing and boobies. Unfortunately, none of these movies suggested were the correct one according to OP. She seemed to have skimmed through most of the movies suggested and states that none of them are matching up to what she remembered from her childhood. Of course, you also have people offering suggestions that are just way off the mark of what OP was talking about, and those comments didn't garner a response, and honestly, good on her for not even entertaining those suggestions. Now, I did a small bit of digging myself, mainly using IMDb and sorting by specific tags to include black and white horror movies with frontal female nudity, but nothing stood out to me in terms of the head crushing that OP was describing in her post. I did, however, reach out to OP for some further details if she was able to recall any. This is what she had to say. The only thing I can think of that I missed was that I think the lead actress was blonde. It was a black and white movie, but I remember her hair being very light, possibly a light brunette. it was a monster movie. My best guess for the time period would be 70s. 99% sure it was in English, though possibly Spanish. I know that it wasn't silent because I could still hear the screaming and sounds in my memory from the man's head in the hydraulic press. I only really remember those two scenes, head crushing and, boobies. The boobies scene was right after the woman was chased by the monster and she got caught. These few extra pieces of information may aid in the search and definitely can narrow it down just a bit further. Thanks so much to OP for taking time out of her day to respond. Hopefully there can be a conclusion to this all too familiar case of childhood trauma. We all know 9 times out of 10 our brain likes to make things way more disturbing and terrifying than they actually are, and OP might be put at ease a bit if that's the case here. Who doesn't love a good commercial to interrupt their show? Getting right to the good part, the major plot point is about to be revealed, and boom. An overly loud and colorful display of consumerism shoved in your face about some questionable shopping app. Ads serve their purpose, sure, and have evolved over time to be more effective and some could argue predatory. With television sets becoming popular in homes post-World War II during the 1950s, so too did the popularity of television advertisements. With a way for companies to garner awareness through motion picture mediums and not just through static, textual, or auditory means, the sky really became the limit within the world of advertisements. Some would say they've lost their appeal over the years, though, becoming more corporate, soulless, and uninspired. That wasn't always the case, however. Even if you didn't end up purchasing anything from watching the ads, they still could be enjoyable to a degree. I remember watching plenty of colorful and animated commercials throughout the early 2000s as I was growing up, and they certainly were memorable. Sometimes, though, we can visualize what they looked like, but forget what they were advertising or what channel they were even aired on. Enter one Reddit user, Great Gildersleeve, who finds themselves in a similar situation, and they detailed their lost commercial in a post from about 3 years ago now. Third time posting this in around 6 years. Looking for a commercial from the late 70s about a couple playing a board game in the park. Hopefully a new set of eyes will recall this. I remember a commercial from the late 70s, maybe 1980 to 81 at the latest. There's a young couple sitting at a table in a park playing a board game. It may have been more than one level, but I am not certain. After each game, whoever lost would say, "One more game," or words to that effect. No, it was not the Pretty Sneaky Sis Connect 4 commercial. At the end of the commercial, it showed the same couple now in advanced age. The man had a long gray beard. The woman likewise was made to look very old, still playing the same game at that same table, again with whoever lost saying, "One more game." This commercial was spooky and really unnerved me as a kid. It had a very Twilight Zone feel to it. Does anyone else recall this one? The elusive, creepy board game commercial, a topic I don't feel is discussed all too often. All jokes aside though, based on the description of the commercial, I can understand how the vibe of the commercial would be off, and definitely how it would be unsettling for a child to watch. To have something as what would be perceived as innocent, such as a board game, be given an undertone where death was looming around the corner would certainly provide unease. Nevertheless, plenty of people took to OP's post to offer suggestions, and some others even having vague memories themselves of a commercial that fits a similar description. I did some sleuthing myself and stumbled upon what I thought was the commercial that OP was looking for. And then I further checked the comments section and noted that someone else had already suggested the same commercial and that OP had denied that that was what they were looking for. Oh well, it was a good try and good thing I checked. The description OP provided is certainly enough for someone to go off of though, and I'm hopeful that one day someone will recall or stumble upon the One More Game commercial. Sometimes I vaguely can remember weird things about my time in elementary school. Of course, most of those memories are tied to some sort of positive or negative emotional response, as most of our more prominent memories often are, but luckily it was never anything too traumatic. I also luckily never saw any of my teachers as monsters, but that doesn't mean that certain students in a certain elementary school portrayed in a horror movie didn't. A Reddit user by the name of Locke and Demosthenes remembers a movie that follows a premise of teachers going insane within their elementary school that they teach at. Apparently it was aired on TV sometime in the early 2000s, and these are the details that OP recalls. Horror movie from no later than 2004. Teachers go crazy in an elementary school. One erratically drives a bus and one scratches a chalkboard with chalk and seems to think she's writing actual words. I watched a few minutes of this movie on TV sometime in the early 2000s when I was a child. I've been trying to locate it on other sites and on another sub, and I made a post about it last week, but haven't had any luck. I know it isn't The Faculty, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, or Invaders from Mars. The movie might be from the 80s or 90s or the very early 2000s. The only two things I remember from the movie are a bus full of kids going really fast down a paved street. The bus was rocking back and forth on its wheels because the driver was going so fast and the kids were all screaming. The other scene I remember is there was a classroom full of kids and the teacher, I think she was an older woman, was writing on the chalkboard. Only she wasn't writing actual words. She was just jerking her arm around and making scratch marks, but she thought it was real writing. She kept snapping at the kids, "Sit down, now!" But her voice was coming out oddly, like she was having trouble talking or moving her jaw. After the fact of posting, OP made 2 additional edits to add some further clarification. Edit 1. I have now ruled out Class of 1999 and its sequel, Jeepers Creepers 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Happening, The Possessed, Class of 1984, Teachers, House MD, and The X-Files. The latter 2 I'm not 100% positive on, since I don't know how to search every single episode of such a long-running show, but just Googling didn't turn up anything accurate. I'm pretty sure I was at least 6 or younger when I saw this, and I know it was either in the late 90s or early 2000s. The latest I think it could have been was 2004 when I was 11. It might have been a made-for-TV movie, it might have just been a TV episode, and it might have just been a commercial for an upcoming film. I feel really bad having to turn everyone's suggestions down, and I'm starting to worry I might have dreamed this movie up. Edit 2. It is not Are You Afraid of the Dark, Goosebumps, any of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, Beware, Children at Play, Teaching Mrs. Tingle, Disturbing Behavior, Crazies, either version, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Village of the Damned, any of the Candyman movies, Puppet Masters, Murder of Innocents, 1993, or Wheels of Terror. I'm starting to doubt that it was a horror film. I was so young I might have been scared, but it wasn't really scary. This is the most attention I've ever gotten on a post, so thanks to everyone who has helped me so far, and I'm sorry I keep having to say no. I feel like I'm losing my mind. So we have plenty of detail. We certainly know what the movie isn't, and we have tons of comments and responses from plenty of users from the Tip of My Tongue community. But there's still no answer on the mysterious, disturbing movie that OP remembers watching when they were younger. So I find myself being around the same age as OP, but cannot personally recall anything by the description in the post. I remember certain scenes from the Perfect School Goosebumps episode, but as mentioned above, that isn't what OP is looking for. So honestly, I'm just kind of at a loss. I tried using whatismymovie.com, a neat tool that allows you to type out the description of a movie or a scene in the movie and it will show you the most relevant responses, but that was to no avail for the movie OP is trying to remember. As mentioned by the second edit, the movie might just be misremembered as being more scary than it actually is. That certainly is par for the course for things like this. Our brain tends to twist things around the more we forget about them, and children understandably are more sensitive to scenes that may be off-putting in the slightest. I personally am willing to bet that this was some sort of regular school drama type series or even a comedy of sorts. The scenes OP describes would absolutely fit within those genres under the right context. But of course, as always, if you might know what OP is talking about, comment down below or on their post directly. Quote-unquote cursed YouTube videos are somewhat of a lost art form, I feel. They really started to gain traction when ARGs on YouTube and other online forums started to become more popular. I know we all know of the legend of Cicada 3301 and how it had users finding and deciphering puzzles from all over the world using both physical and digital media. Clues were passed along using physical papers posted in specific locations, and songs, and of course, through certain videos. Now, whether or not the videos would be considered cursed is a question in and of itself, but the format of an ARG having some sort of disturbing video attached to it is certainly on par for the genre. Of course, there are actual videos that claim to just be a curse and nothing more, something similar to the VHS tape from the famous horror movie The Ring. You can find these all over the place by just searching up cursed video in the search bar, and they're of varying quality. Some of these videos, however, actually managed to cause glitches within the YouTube video player, so to some degree, they actually did cause some damage in a sense. One such video is the topic of our final unanswered question, and Reddit user Parsniperus describes what they are trying to find through the following post. Creepy corrupted YouTube video that I can't remember. I remember a creepy video I found on YouTube from 2013 to 2020 roughly. I can't remember specifics, but I believe it was a mix of generic creepy images and videos. The interesting part is the fact whenever you click to a certain point on the video, like the 30-second mark, each time you did, the video would change and be different previously. Skipping around the video would give similar results. Every time you go to a certain point, it changes when you come back. Nothing's staying the same. Something was fundamentally broken with the YouTube video and the code somehow. I remember finding the video by watching a top 10 creepy YouTube videos video, but since there's so many, I can't find it again. They also provided the following edits for further clarification and had an example of another video that was similar to what they were describing. Edit 1. When I say glitch, I'm not talking about the content of the video. I'm talking like a bug in YouTube itself. Also, the top 10 video it was in was probably posted around 2017-ish. Edit 2. Video found from u/error502. Closest video yet. Scooby video that is actually quote-unquote cursed and has been taken down since. Made this edit to give a better idea of what the video I'm looking for was like, as the actual video was broken. Now, there's an embedded hyperlink in the second edit text that links to another Reddit thread about a Scooby-Doo animated video. The video was supposedly found within the files of the game SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, and this isn't strange by itself. It was uploaded to YouTube, but the video appeared to be broken, as the file is only 1 minute and 8 seconds long, but when uploaded it was 3 minutes and 48 seconds long. The video will play normally within the video, but the audio is extremely distorted and choppy. This seems extremely interesting, but was proven to just be an issue with the video and audio files being different lengths and YouTube not being able to properly play the file. Somewhat underwhelming, but oh well. Now, this video was actually taken down from YouTube for whatever reason, but I managed to extract the MP4 file from the Wayback Machine and have uploaded it as an unlisted video. I will link that video in the description and in a pinned comment down below. Going back to our mysterious video OP was looking for, many people chimed in with suggestions and some even provided further details about our video. I barely remember it, so I don't have a lot of information, but I remember it having lots of creepy black and white clips and pictures. I remember a plague mask included, but a lot of videos have that description, sorry. I might be able to find the top 10 video since I probably watched a reaction to it. People began suggesting things such as username 666 and a lot of random quote-unquote cursed YouTube videos, but none seemed to be what OP was describing. Someone did actually feel that they found the top 10 video OP found the glitched video through, but the video was set to private. Through some magic, using the Wayback Machine once again, however, I was able to find the segment talking about the glitched video, and apparently this channel had all of their videos with some sort of glitch happening in the YouTube player itself. So this may have been where the video in question was located. Unfortunately, the video appears to be deleted along with every other video on the user's channel, and I have no way of accessing it through the Wayback Machine, so this may be fully lost. Meat Sleep is apparently a whole different type of rabbit hole, so maybe one day that can get its own dedicated video. Sadly, OP hasn't responded to the person who linked the top 10 video, so this may or may not be even what we're looking for. Given that it's been 3 years since the comment and that OP hasn't been active on Reddit in 2 years, we unfortunately may not ever get an answer to this. So yeah, there's 4 more interesting and somewhat creepy Reddit posts that continue to go unanswered to this day. Hopefully, bringing awareness to these posts can allow for some form of answer being provided, and if not, at least the mystery can be shared even further to more and more people. I definitely had some close calls on thinking that I found what the OP was looking for, but unfortunately, I fell just a bit short. I did have fun managing to find that lost Scooby-Doo video, and that certainly is super interesting of a thing that happened, even if the explanation is a bit technical. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I thank you so much for watching. I really love putting these together and getting to interact with you guys. Making someone else happy through making content is awesome, and I'm super grateful for the opportunity to do it. As always, keep it low key and have a great night.